Dr. Bobby Mitchell.
All right. Happy to be here today. Isn't this a beautiful sign? Aaron Adams, Ford Township Trustee. Excited about that. I wanted to come last year. Aaron told me about the corn roast, and I know they canceled it last year. And so I'm happy to be here this year to be able to enjoy it. And I heard it's absolutely phenomenal. I am an Air Force veteran, retired Air Force veteran. I know I look young, but I went back in '99, and we served, my wife and I, we served on Iraq, Afghanistan war, and I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting Aaron Adams, I believe it was a few years ago, almost 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, and I met a man that on the campaign trail, he wanted to put God first. He had strong conservative principles. And he loved his family, and I admired those things immediately when I had the opportunity to meet him. And then, the next thing you know, we started working together. We were fighting against corruption in politics, and we started sounding the alarm. And some people looked at us like we were crazy, but then a few months after the election, the FBI arrested all of these people. It was a $60 million bribery scheme with First Energy. And so those people are gone. But what I really feel strongly is that God is looking for people of character, people of integrity, people that will put him first and that will honor him. And I believe that Aaron Adams is that candidate. And he has my full support. I couldn't wait to get down here. He told me about a month ago I couldn't wait to get down here. And my campaign is donating to your campaign. We're going to write him out a check for $500 because we believe he's going to be the next trustee here. And so if you could, with that said, if you could please put your hands together for the next trustee of here, Salt Creek. I believe that's the area. And come on here, Aaron.
I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. Thank you for the Star-Spangled Banner there. That was very beautiful. Thank you for Dr. Mitchell for that introduction there. When I first, Bobby was talking about there, when I first met him, we were running against each other in that race, and he had invited me to go out to lunch with him. And when I went there, I'll be honest, I was a little hesitant. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if he'd be wearing a wire and I'd have to be ambushed or something, but after we talked to him for a while, I learned then that me and him were really on the same side, though we were on two different sides of it. And I said it then, and I've continued to say it, that in that race we were opponents but not enemies. We were fighting for the same values, the same beliefs. We were fighting to put God first and to put our country first. So, as he alluded to there, before I ran for for state representative in the 78th Ohio House District, when I ran there, I was running on issues that were important to everyday people, such as skyrocketing healthcare costs, the slow erosion of our civil liberties by an overzealous government, and fighting to protect free speech and to fight against economic ruin brought on by bad government policies. And how much more has that been exaggerated over the past year? Yeah. You know, that was only, a year and a half ago. It seems like it was forever ago. So during that race, after it came out that Dr. Mitchell and I were doing better than expected, the swamp that we were fighting against fought back. We were hit with a $50,000 smear campaign set to destroy our reputations. But they weren't able to do that by attacking our beliefs or our values. They couldn't do it. Instead, they were forced to resort to baseless accusations, silly photos of me at 15, if you can believe it, and outdated stereotypes. Even as they attacked me from all sides, I chose to keep my promise of not going dirty. While in that race, even while my opponents or my enemies, they spent mountains and mountains of cash to stop me, I never spent one penny on negative ads. I held my promise true. And in that race, I trusted that God would see me through. I clung to my rock and let him do the rest. Luckily, I didn't have to wait that long. Last July, as Dr. Mitchell was saying, it came out that the enemies that were attacking me were not attacking me in order to protect the people or our country. They were attacking me in order to protect a corrupt empire. One that was included bribes of $60 million and a $1 billion fraudulent bailout, the largest in the state's history. And because I trusted in God in that, and he did what was needed, I now wear those smears with a badge of honor. Though I was unsuccessful in that race, I knew that God still had plans for me. I could have sat back and complained and cried about the trespasses against me, but what would that have done? Would it have done anything? Instead, I chose to fight back, because I was always taught as a child that it's not how many times you're knocked down, but how many times you get back up. And those, my friends and family, know me, that before in my life, I've been knocked down pretty bad, but it didn't stop me then, and it wasn't going to stop me now. At the end of my state representative race, I pledged to keep fighting, so long as my heart was still beating, and last I checked, it still is. So I intend to keep my promise and continue to fight on. After that race, instead of complaining, instead of crying about it, I looked back at what my strengths and my weaknesses were, and set out to improve upon them. What I noticed was that at that moment, I had a big blind spot when it came to utilizing people and being a present in local politics. So I began to work with local grassroots groups that are fighting to get good conservatives elected at the local level so that we can get real change, started from the ground up, just like our founders intended. After speaking with my friends and neighbors, it came to my attention that perhaps there was a need for me in my own backyard. After much thought and prayer, it became clear to me that perhaps this was the window that God was opening for me after He had closed the door on my past campaign. I saw that there was a dire need for someone who loves both God and people, and I was not content to sit on the sidelines, as I never have been. That's why last Tuesday, with the help of many of you here, I filed my petition to run to be Saltcreek Township's next trustee. And with the help of many of you, the great people of this township, and most of all with the help of God, I will be our next trustee. In closing, no matter what happens to me in my life, I have continued to get back up and fight for what is right. No matter how hard I've been knocked down, I have got back up again and I have continued to fight. And I hope my opponents from before know that it's going to take a whole lot more than $50,000 to stop me again. I want to thank you all for coming out, for your continued support. Thank you all again, and God bless.